Good morning to you. This is Pip Coleman coming in to do the Find Your Soul show. And this week we are continuing our conversation about writing your own story. So it is important that you are living your own life, that you're moving towards your own goals, that you are seeking pleasure for yourself in your life, that you're seeking your own joy, that you are serving your purpose and the way that you want to live your life rather than serving everybody else. And that's not to say that service is not important, but one of the things that I've found, especially when I'm coaching clients or talking to my students, my Reiki students, or my psychic development students, they always seem to come from that place, particularly because they're empathetic human beings. They're people who care about other people. They tend to serve other people's purposes and other people's needs before their own. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about journaling, and we're going to be talking about your feelings being valid and honoring your own feelings. And we're going to do a little tapping meditation to release the belief that it's selfish to find pleasure for yourself, that's actually selfish, because that's one of the things that a lot of people come up with in terms of a block. They think that anything that they do for themselves is selfish, and so therefore it's bad. And that is something that's going to stop you from doing things for yourself, isn't it? If you have a belief that it's bad, that it's selfish, that it's not good. I remember talking to or reading, a book by Nancy Levin called Worthy, and she talks about in there how there's the three sisters of selfish, self-care, and self-love. And those three things are all really important. You've got to have, the power of three. You've got to have that balance of looking after yourself and looking after others. It's not an either or. It's a also and. Yeah. So welcome. Say hey when you join. Say hello when you join the chat. Join the live, and we're going to move. First of all, we're going to talk about journaling and honoring your feelings, and then we're going to do the tapping to release that feeling of selfishness around seeking your own pleasure. So one of the things that I created in the last year is a journal, the Find Your Soul journal, which goes with as a companion to my book. But there are lots and lots of amazing journals out there that you can use in terms of bringing yourself into a space of self-reflection, bringing yourself into a space of what is it that I need? What do I feel? How am I processing the world? How am I being in this space? And one of the things that I do in the Find Your Soul journal is I give you some prompts, some things to think about so that you can start your journaling process. The actual pages are blank. Well, they've got a little feather on them, and there's a blank page on the other side so that you can actually write as long as you want, okay? So might be a question saying, what is it that makes you happy? And so then you can start to journal the things that make you happy. Or, what is it that would lighten you up today? What is it that you've done that's been brave? What have you done in your life that's been brave? And then you can write those things down. And yesterday I was working on what my coach calls her Book of Awesomeness. And her Book of Awesomeness is basically a journal like this, a blank journal, that has all of the things in it that you have done that you've achieved, the things that you've done that have been successful. You learned how to walk, you learned how to ride a bike, you got your first job, you had your first relationship, and then you broke up with that person because you'd outgrown them and you needed to change. You traveled overseas for the first time, or you traveled around Australia for the first time, or you booked your first hotel, you know, all of the things that we learn how to do. One of hers was really funny. She's like, she learned how to play cards, and then she learned how to win at playing cards. And then I learned how to play Scrabble, and then I learned how to win at Scrabble. And that was really cool. So in your journal, you could use it for something like that, where you, every time you're feeling down, you go to your Find Your Soul journal or your Book of Awesomeness or whatever you want to call it, and inside there is all of the things that you have done that are amazing. And then that can lift your spirits, make you feel good. So journaling has a number of different cool ways that you can, you know, it can help you. So one of them is to explore your own feelings, how you feel, what's actually going on for you. Because sometimes if we don't have someone to reflect with, someone to bounce ideas off, we need to get it out of ourselves. We need to get it out, because if you keep things bottled up inside, you start to manifest illnesses and diseases, right? So we need to do that, getting it out of your system, and putting it down on paper is a great way of doing that. If you're not a writer, if you're not so good with the writing, or you don't think you are, then you could do exactly the same process of self-reflection and answering questions and asking yourself questions, asking the universe questions by tapping into your speaking. You could actually use the voice recorder memo on your phone, and you could talk into that voice recorder and say, this is what's going on for me today, and this is what's happening, and this is what I'm thinking, and this is what's going on. So you could actually do that process on the voice recorder. And if you want to change that into notes, there is a app called Transcribe, where you can actually talk into the audio, it records your audio, and then you can transcribe it into words, so that you could then have it in words in a written form if you want to save it in that way. So there's lots of different ways that you can honor and express yourself. So hey Jody, how you going? If anyone else is out there, say hello. Yeah, so the journaling is really cool. It's really important to give yourself and honor yourself in this way, in terms of your feelings are valid, your emotions are valid, your thoughts are valid, your opinions are valid. You have, you know, you are just as deserving of expressing your feelings and expressing, you know, what it is that's going on in your life as anyone else in the world. And that's something that's really important too. And if you feel that you need help with that expression, if you feel you need someone to coach you on that or help you around starting that process of honoring yourself, then you might like to give me a call or contact me through you know, my Facebook page, and ask me about doing some coaching, because we can get to a certain point on our own sometimes, but taking it to the next level and having someone be objective and someone who's nothing to do with your life, who can actually help you to reframe things, it's really, really helpful to have somebody like that who can walk along with you, walk along beside you. So let's talk a little bit about feeling like you're selfish to seek pleasure, because one of the things that is really important in life is to feel like we're enjoying ourselves. Like, what are we here for? What are we here on this earth for if we're not to enjoy our space? If we're here to explore all that there is about being human. We're here to enjoy the world. We're here to enjoy our life and our families and our friends and our environment. You know, we're here to have fun. We're here to seek pleasure, is something that human beings do. And when we're babies, when we're little children, seek pleasure all the time. They're constantly looking for things to do that make them feel good. That's what we are at our essence. We're supposed to be in that space of joy and pleasure. And the reason why we don't feel good most of the time is because we've squashed that feeling of joy or pleasure or happiness. We've squashed it because we think that we're not allowed, to be in that space of pleasure. And that's, learnings from school and perhaps parents and grandparents and, some people around us who told us that, we're not allowed to be happy all the time. We're not allowed to have pleasure all the time. We're not allowed to be in that space of joy all the time, And that's not to say that, life doesn't happen and we're going to have sad moments and we're going to have angry moments and we're going to have, the ebb and flow of life is still going to happen. And it's about allowing yourself to feel those pleasurable moments and to do those things that give you pleasure and not stop yourself or block yourself or sabotage. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this tapping. So if you would like to close your eyes, if you know what the tapping points are, I'm going to say where to tap on your face and your body. But if you would like to watch me for the first round, you can watch. And then if you want to close your eyes, I'm going to instruct you anyway. So what we're going to do is clear the association that seeking pleasure is selfish, okay? And that we should feel guilty about it, and that we're not valuable unless we're constantly sacrificing our own needs to help other people. That's a lie, of course. We don't have to constantly sacrifice our own needs. It's just not true, and it doesn't benefit us and the world to believe that you have to be constantly giving everything to other people and nothing to yourself. So give yourself a number. Before we begin, we always give ourselves a number out of 10 about the truth of the statement or the belief that it's selfish to seek pleasure. And if you'd like to pop your number into the comments, you can just put, 5 out of 10 or whatever it is. If you're 5 or over out of 10 in that belief, if you believe that statement quite strongly, then, 10 out of 10. If you're 5 or over, then that's a really good belief to tap on, to let go and use this process of EFT tapping. Really great to help relieve and release those feelings that you might be having around seeking pleasure. If you're under 5, you can still benefit from this process because it'll just bring your number down and make you feel even more in the space of receiving and wanting to take action. So once you've actually got your number there, then you can actually see how much you're going to shift. It's really important to notice when you shift, because sometimes we'll do these processes and we'll go, I feel the same way as I did when I first started. But that's not true, because when we first start, we're in that heightened state of emotion and we don't remember. We don't remember that we were that heightened. So the number at the beginning is very important so that you can feel yourself shift, even if it's just 1 point. If you go from 6 to 5, great. That means you're actually shifting and changing. So giving yourself a number from 0 to 10 about the truth of the belief that it's selfish to seek pleasure, and we'll start to shift. Okay, so tapping on the karate chop point and just saying out loud, welcome, Kerry, just in time. Even though it feels selfish to seek pleasure, I am willing to love and accept myself. And I'm going to say willing to today, but you can just say I love and accept myself if you feel comfortable with that statement. Even though it feels selfish to do things that feel good, I'm willing to love and accept myself. And remember to breathe. Even though it feels selfish to choose me over others, I'm willing to love and accept myself. Take another breath. And let's tap on the eyebrow point and say, it feels wrong. Side of the eye. I have so many other responsibilities. Under the eye. So many people depend on me. Under the nose. Pleasure isn't important. Chin. It's not a priority. Collarbone. It's wrong. Under the arm. It's selfish. Top of the head. All this guilt. Eyebrow point. All this guilt about taking time for myself. Side of the eye. It's not what I was taught. Under the eye. Other people might be mad at me. Under the nose. I'd rather be a martyr. Chin. And help other people. Collarbone. Because they need me. Under the arm. But I'm burning out. Top of the head. This is exhausting. Eyebrow point. And I can't give what I don't have. Side of the eye. But people expect me to give all the time. Under the eye. I'm not feeling centered. Under the nose. Because I haven't taken any time for myself. Chin. Releasing this guilt. Collarbone. This is about me. Under the arm. And how I show up in this world. Top of the head. This is my life. Remember to breathe. Eyebrow point. And I haven't been taking time for my life. Side of the eye. One day I might look back. Under the eye. And regret not feeling more pleasure. Under the nose. And regret not enjoying the moment. Chin. When I look back, collarbone. I'm going to wish I took time for myself. Under the arm. To live my life. Top of the head. I choose to shift now. Eyebrow. And to release any regrets. Side of the eye. Because now I choose to take time for myself. Under the eye. This is how I serve the world. Under the nose. Leading by example. Chin. Showing my children how to take care of themselves. Collarbone. And I take time for my life. Under the arm. Time to enjoy it. Top of the head. Time to feel pleasure. Eyebrow point. I commit to seeking pleasure. Side of the eye. This is my life. Under the eye. And I live it to the fullest. Under the nose. By focusing on what makes me happy. Chin. Pleasure is my new priority. Collarbone. I come first. Under the arm. Pleasure is my priority. top of the head. And I enjoy my life now. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And check in with your number now from 0 to 10. If it's 5 or over, then go back and repeat this tapping script, or tap on the feelings, thoughts, and memories that have come up for you. The more specific that your tapping is, the more effective it will be. So if you're a workaholic and you don't know how to say no to people, this exercise will just help you to get into a calm place and embrace the fact that you deserve to have pleasure too. It's a challenge that so many women, not just women, but a lot of women face. We love to make people happy. We love saying yes. We love adding value to other people's lives. And all too often we're terrified of saying no to other people. So we end up putting too much on our plates. And by doing this, we're also enabling other people's dependency on us. So we're not about having faith that they're going to figure out their problems by themselves, you know. We're trying to save the day by jumping in to the rescue. And isn't that interesting, you know, that whole concept of, when someone's in pain, sometimes the best way that we can help them is to allow them to feel the pain and make the shift themselves. And I'm not saying leave them on their own and, completely abandon them. I'm talking about giving them space, holding space for people so that they can work out their own problems and their own issues and not jumping in and trying to solve it for them, That's so interesting. So I'd love to hear what your number is if it went from 8 to 5, or it went from 7 to 2, or whatever your shift was. Please pop your comments in the comment box down the bottom. I'm sorry, I can't see any comments today, so I will go back and look later. I'm not sure if you are commenting and I'm just missing it, but sometimes on my phone I can't see it. So I'd love to hear how you're feeling now about seeking pleasure. If you would like a copy of that script in terms of the actual hard copy, be more than happy to send that to you. Just let me know in the comments below if you'd like a copy, or you can send me a private message and I will send you the Word document so that you can actually work through that script yourself. Remembering that the scripts are a starting point, and I use lots of different tapping scripts when I do my coaching program. The Divine Alignment coaching program helps people to come back into alignment, to remember their true self, to remember your purpose, to help you with emotions, to tap into your intuition, get you back on track in terms of trusting yourself. And we do a lot of tapping as part of that process, specific, tailored tapping that actually addresses your issues, your stuff that's coming up, the things that are blocking you, so that you can move forward and be more aligned as a being, as a soul. So these scripts are a starting point, these general scripts. And then the more that you can be specific, very specific. In fact, the more specific that you are, the more engaged you are in the actual process. If you're talking about your husband or your children and you're tapping away, you're just going to have a much more relief from that than if you just use somebody else's words, So try that, give it a go. I have had the most shifting and the most relief from tapping when I tap about the things that I'm worried about in that moment. If I'm worried about the business, or if I'm worried about my book, or if I'm worried about a client, or if I'm worried about my parents or my friends or my sisters or my brothers, whatever, if I tap on those specific things and use my own words, even if I'm just feeling the feeling, it's so much more effective than using a script. But the script helps you to kind of get the ball rolling, you know. You can always listen to this video or the audio if you want to go to my podcast. You can listen to the audio and tap along, and then that way you'll actually get the sensation of the meditation of it, the mindfulness of it, because you're stopping and giving yourself time. That's another thing that a lot of people struggle with, particularly women, struggle with giving themselves time. Even if you stop and just sit for a minute, you're thinking about all the stuff that you need to be doing instead of sitting and having a think for a minute. And so the tapping can help you with that as well. You could stop, have a cup of tea, a cup of chai, and tap while you're doing that. You know, drink and tap. That's okay. You know, whatever works for you. You have to find the things that work and use those things. You know, there's no point in having the tools if you don't actually reach out and use them. And that's a reminder for me as well, because I am just as guilty as anyone for not reaching out for the tools when I am feeling like I need something. And you get into that space of wallowing sometimes. And look, a good wallow is also sometimes needed. Sometimes we actually need to get into that space of pain and discomfort to help us leverage and move towards the change, you know, because if you don't have any pain, then you stay where you are, right? You stay in that space of whatever it is that you're feeling. So the pain helps us. It helps us to shift. It helps us to change. So those are the two things that I want to share with you today. Journaling. One, you could get yourself a Find Your Soul journal from my website, pipcoleman.com/store. And I can post it out to you and you get a little free gift with that as well. And then the tapping for releasing the belief that it's selfish to seek pleasure. So please let me know how that was for you. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions or you'd like to talk to me about doing some coaching, please do get in touch. Always a pleasure to come in here and share the joy, share the Finding Your Soul energy with you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Next week, we'll talk some more about writing your story. Bye for now. See ya.